For 38 years, he's been paying homeowners insurance, always on time. This is a responsible man, solid guy, family guy. He says, just last week, this is before the fires, I got a notice last week that they are dropping my coverage. Okay? That they're dropping my coverage last week. Now, I'm not going to give the insurance companies names. All I'm telling you is, there's a lot of names, State Farm, Farmers, Liberty. There's a bunch of them that you can go through that are out there that are dropping it. Allstate, it's all over the place, right? That this is a real story that's going on.
Trust everyone to be themselves, but trust in the fact that you can see them well. I mean, it takes too much energy to not trust someone. I mean, trust them to be them.
Right. To be themselves.
Trust a snake to bite you. Right. Trust a lion to laugh. Trust a thief to steal from you. Like, trust them to be them, but know them when you see them.
I'm your professor, I will test you in the worst way. Don't bring a scantron, it's pop quizzes all day. Cause of our chemistry, we do biology. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail, more importantly, you saw the clip. Let's talk about fires and insurance, right? The stories keep coming out about the fires in California. Did somebody actually start these fires? The timing of insurance companies canceling numerous people's policy because of the threat of fires in that area, right? And then fires happening and thousands of people, having their whole homes and everything they've worked for burnt to a crisp, knowing that they're uninsured for that particular thing. And some people look at it as a conspiracy theory or something that, good timing by the insurance companies, right? Or bad business in America. And in my opinion, it's all of those things. Because when you have situations like this, if anybody who's a homeowner, if you've been in a natural disaster, insurance companies pay, but after they pay, let's drop you. Or you've held a policy for so long with an insurance company that they just drop you like, we hope let us get out with all the profits we made before we have to pay out because you've been with us for 15 years and something's gotta happen by now, so let's get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? So with stuff like this, now you have celebrities, you have well-off people, and you're gonna get the classic, yo, we're gonna sue you. My lawyer's gonna be on the case, and you're gonna have a bunch of rich people and their lawyers fighting against these insurance companies who are, if we got to have the racial element of it, since the majority of those people are going to be looked at as multi-million-dollar homes, rich and white. They're going to have to get some type of compensation, right? And the insurance companies are going to do what insurance companies do. They lowball them. People have 4 or 5. I saw somebody with a $35 million house that was for sale on Zillow burned to the ground, and knowing that, we canceled your policy, but we're free and clear. And it's like, oh, really? And then you have the politicizing of this, let's get on the mayor for being in Africa because there was fires in California when she was in Africa. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know how she would have stopped the fire if she was in L.A. And you had a fire chief thing where the fire chief is a lesbian. So here we go. Now, let me rewind this. Now, I do understand that if the mayor wind up underfunding, taking funds out of the fire department, and now you say we need these funds, see what happened, you definitely get blamed for that. Definitely. But from my understanding, even with the fire chief that's the lesbian, it's like where the fire is at, she's actually not the police chief of those areas. It's like one of the fires is in her jurisdiction and the other 4 or 5 are in other fire chiefs' jurisdiction, but she's the one on the news. This is what I mean by politicizing stuff. So you make this a whole big dog and pony show, smoke and mirrors, it's the liberals, it's the liberal agenda, and that's why the place burned down to the ground. And then at the same time, you're seeing people who they're saying they're just burning down stuff now, like they're just adding to the fire by burning down stuff, which is in America has happened before. There have been cities that burned up, and business owners burned their own stuff up on purpose and blamed it on the locals. That happened in Chicago. That's a known thing. So I guess with the advent of technology and cameras everywhere, people are starting to go, okay, did an arsonist start this, or people becoming arsonists because they think they're gonna be able to get money out of these situations? You got all this stuff going on, and people using technology to expose it, or people use technology to create, build a lie. So back to the fires, and the insurance company. Now you have, it's natural disaster. But what people do is you have people in the world who are like, how can I say this properly? Sometimes when insurance companies drop you, you get another insurance company. But so let's just say all these other people were insured, but that from another insurance company. But that doesn't mean that the policies that they got included fire insurance, insurance for fires, because they could, the insurance companies could have killed the policies for fires because it was such a high area. Like if you're in Tornado Alley, there's there's a certain part like, look, man, if you get a tornado, look, you're in Tornado Alley. We're not going to pay out every year because there's a tornado here. You should have moved. That's how they're going to treat you. So they might have did the same thing. So here we go, with the unfairness of America and American business, where capitalism shows you how much, it cares, because you're going to have thousands of people just out on their luck, and nobody's going to, and these companies are not going to care for the most part. You're going to have people move out of LA because they're going to be upset about this for sure, have to start their life somewhere else, right? Just because of the the problematic part of this situation. You're gonna have insurance companies. So at some point, the media is gonna post in the news, "Oh, these companies made record profits," and people are gonna go, "Record profits? Oh, y'all didn't pay out them people because when their houses burned down and whatever other disaster happened, y'all didn't really pay out those people then. Oh my God." So you let all of these people go homeless and have all of their belongings burned to a crisp, and you're gonna throw a party in some 5-star hotel somewhere, go, yeah, champagne for everybody. We got money. And it's like, this is why. And then we're gonna have the same little overlap of, now we're gonna take the CEOs off, more CEOs off of the website pages, because I don't know, these people might get I think Jim might catch a hot one now, because I think people are going to be upset about this. So you got that whole dynamic. And what's interesting about all of this, because don't want to really make it a racial thing, but when Katrina happened in New Orleans, people said the levees burst, and then people said that somebody blew up the levee, right? When, like I told you about the thing in Chicago where people were setting fire to their own stuff to get the insurance check. All of the former hustles that would work, that added on to a natural disaster and destruction, it's not as easy to do anymore. But I will say, when you look across racial lines, it's easier for certain races and demographics or classes of people to get away with doing it. You get what I'm saying? So there will be less questions if you look a certain way. But at the same time, we're living in a society, where the idea that you worked hard and you did all the right things and something happened, and the effort that you put into covering yourself isn't worth it. It's like, you got health insurance, but when you go to the hospital, you're not covered. You know what I'm saying? You got flood insurance, but when it floods, you're not covered all of a sudden. You got car insurance, but if somebody hits you and it's not your fault, you covered, but then your car insurance goes up after, and it's like it's not even your fault. So, but hey, man, we got to get these profits. We got to get these profits, and at what cost? And people, you make people rethink this because the government itself has enabled this. Because the government didn't put a regulation saying, "Hey, man, if a person gets in a car wreck and it's not their fault, their policy shouldn't go up. If a person has paid for insurance for this thing, and y'all decide, we ain't in, we cool on that because we don't want to do this anymore, and you get to cancel thousands of tens of thousands of policies, you just walk off with people's money. Nah, you can't do that, because now it's becoming we basically turned insurance into a casino, and the house always wins. you know so since that is the case, um you're gonna, it creates another element in American society where, okay, we got to stop trusting the system and the government and the politics, because obviously they have us paying all of these things that are mandatory, but these mandatory things don't have to actually take care of us. So what you're going to have is a lot of um, people who are willing to just, I don't want to say revolt, but just defect from the idea of I need this and I need that, because people don't hold up their end of the bargain. And the irony of it is the same thing that happened when the CEO got killed. It's like, oh man, you're doing this to rich people now. You're doing this to people who got well off, who have a high net worth. So there is no we've gone past that only happens to a certain demographic or a certain class. Now it's beyond everybody. So it gives people the idea, oh, everybody's on their own. Okay, no problem. But then everybody's on their own, but the corporations are not. And it's like, well, what's going to be next? Because if you don't fix this, there's always going to be a natural disaster. So you're gonna have people, from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean, paying into something that when a disaster strike, they just walk away. And I'm not saying, everybody walks away, but that's becoming too much of the narrative when it comes to stuff like this. And people, even when people get paid out, they feel cheated. So there's nobody to blame but the companies, the corporations, the people who run those corporations themselves, and the people that they've paid off in politics. Nobody else. So just understand, when you make life bad for people who are doing the right, feel like they're doing the right thing, there are those people who go, well, since we enemies, we enemies. And I think that's the issue with American society right now. America has created so many enemies abroad that, it had to turn inward and create enemies inward. So you have all of these things that are happening in America that are sticking it to people who in America aren't accustomed to getting things stuck to them. So now it's like, oh my God, we might be at war or with another country or fighting for our for people's freedom and to protect America. At the same time, people are going, oh, America's at war with me. It's just insurance company here, inflation here, car note here, like food, poisonous food here, um, bad politicians here. You get what I'm saying? Rising cost of everything here. It's like, okay, people are figuring that out now, and it's gonna really be a problem. And the irony of it, the people who I think that are the richest and feel like they're in the most power, it comes off like they actually believe that they're untouchable. And I'm like, y'all about to find out that you're not. Just that's what's gonna happen. So tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
All I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, I gave you everything I had.